Hello and welcome to my YouTube video for how to copy your Windows installation to an SSD. So this will allow you to transfer your Windows from your original traditional spinning mechanical hard drive to a solid state drive or SSD. And because when you change out your original hard drive in your computer to an SSD, it makes your computer much faster. So to do this, you are going to need three pieces of equipment. One of them is a freeware software program called easeUS TODO Backup for Windows, and you can get that at easeUS.com. And the other two things is you're going to need a solid state drive. This is a SATA SSD. And if your computer is even newer, you can get an M2 SSD. It doesn't matter which one it is, as long as it fits your computer. And the other thing you'll need is a USB-to-SATA dock. So it looks like this. It usually does not come with a hard drive. So this is the eject button to eject the hard drive. And on the back of this is basically just a power button and a connection for power and the USB cord. So initially, one of the things that you have to do in this process is you have to back up your data from the original hard drive to a different hard drive to free up space in the computer. Because what happens is most original computers, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, usually has a 1 terabyte hard drive in it. And if your SSD is less than that, you're going to have to, reduce it to fit. So in this case, my original hard drive is a 1 terabyte hard drive. And my installation SSD is going to be a 120 gig hard drive, which going from 1 terabyte down to 120 gigs. So I need to clear up space on my original computer and make it down to less than 120 gigabytes. So unless you have an SSD that's 1 terabyte, then you can skip this part. But if your SSD is smaller than your original hard drive, you need to clear up space. So what happens is you look under your C drive, you go to users, and then your username. And I recommend checking the desktop folder, documents folder, downloads folder, pictures folder, and videos folder. And use this USB to SATA dock to transfer files from your computer to a different hard drive. This is a hard drive that I'm not going to be using, but just to take the data off from my computer to this hard drive, which I've already done yesterday, and I moved almost a terabyte worth of data. So now if I click this PC here on the left and right click on my C drive and hit properties, it shows that I'm actually using up 70.7 gigs, and my free space on the original hard drive is 859 gigs. So it took a few hours yesterday, but I cleared up a lot of data from this hard drive and transferred it to this other hard drive that I'm not using. It's also a 1 terabyte hard drive. And this SATA drive, which I have not used yet, is still brand new, so it has nothing on it. So basically that's step one, and once you finish step one, you can move on to step two. So that's it for this portion of the video. Step 2 of this video is to plug in and initialize the SSD. So first thing I'm going to do is eject this hard drive that I've saved all my unnecessary stuff to. Take that out. And I'm going to plug in my SSD. Remember, it's got to be able to access information, so it's going to go this stuff right here. And then I've already connected the data cable to the computer, USB, and also the power. All I have to do is turn this thing on by pushing the power button on the back. Now, on the computer itself, we're going to go into Windows. I'm going to hit the Start menu. The Settings icon, which looks like a gear here in the lower left corner. It says Settings. Click that. And then in the search box for Find a Setting, I'm going to type in Partitions. And select Create and Format Hard Drive Partitions. So because this computer is a laptop, it has its original, I'm going to make this bigger here. It has its original 1 terabyte hard drive, which is showing here as 931.5 gigs. It's got the CD burner, which is the D drive. So disk 0 is the C drive, and disk 1 is my tiny little SSD, which is 120 gig, and it's showing up as 111.79 gig. And now I'm going to, let me see here. Going to delete this volume. So disk 1 is my SSD because I can tell from the size here. Whereas this disk 0 is the almost 1 terabyte hard drive, and the CD-ROM is showing here. So now I'm going to go to my disk 1, which is the SSD, delete this volume. And see, delete this volume. There's no data on that disk since I've never used it yet. So, let's see, delete that partition. No, don't delete that. So now we're going to say right click and hit New Simple Volume. Welcome to the New Simple Volume wizard. I'm going to click Next. Okay, so simple volume size in megabytes. We're going to go with the maximum that it's recommending. Hit Next. Assign the following drive letter E. This is how you get your drive letter, because it doesn't show up as a drive letter yet until you do this stuff in partitions. Format this volume with the following settings. Let's see. NTFS, default allocation unit size. I like to pick the smallest, 512. I'm going to call it something. Let's call it SSD in caps for the volume label. Perform a quick format. Hit Next. Finish. And it should be very quick. So as you can see, there is my SSD, which is now assigned drive letter E. Let's see if we can right click on that. New Simple Volume. Same thing. Assign drive letter F. I'm going to call that SSD2. Quick format. There's not enough space available to complete. Okay, so basically it's gonna be wasted. 2 gigabytes of space. That's pretty much it. So now I'm gonna exit this. And if we check with Windows Explorer by hitting the Windows key plus E. Come on. There we go. It brings up File Explorer, and I can see if I click this PC to the left, the arrow to the left, I can see my C drive and my E drive. My E drive has nothing on it. If I right click on it and hit Properties, it shows me I have space that is 261 megabytes used and free space of 109 gigabytes. So I just hit Cancel. So my drive is ready to be used in Windows. I'm going to close this. We're going to start step 3. We're going to start cloning the hard drive. So what I'm going to do is fire up that easeUS TODO Backup from the Start menu. It's under E. And click that and activate the program. Windows is going to ask for permission. You hit yes. So this is the program that's going to transfer a copy of Windows from your original hard drive to this SSD, which is still connected. Let's see. So we're on the free license, I think. Yeah, don't hit home because it's going to try to charge you for 30 bucks. So now we just click later. And it says there is no backup. Now we're going to, let me see here. I think we're going to do a disk. We're going to do a, close that. I think we're going to do a disk partition backup. Oh, not that. We're going to do a clone, and the source is going to be the hard drive. I'm going to hit next. Let's see, the target is going to be hard disk 1. Click Advanced Options, and we're going to click Optimize for SSD. Hit OK, and then we're going to click Next. So here it's showing the source is disk 0, or the C drive, which is my almost 1 terabyte hard drive, and the target is disk 1, which is the E drive, or my 120 gig drive. I'm going to click Proceed. The data on the destination disk will be lost. Do you want to continue? Yes. And now it's going to calculate the estimated time remaining. It says initializing clone. Please wait. 5%. And this part will take a while. So depends how much data you originally had left on your original hard drive. So the more data you have on it, the longer it takes to transfer everything. So for me, I have about 70 gigs, so that should be about as fast as it goes. Most of that 70 gigs is Windows files plus programs that were already installed that I wanted to keep. So this is the part of the video where I stop for now, because step 4 was aligning the partitions. Steps 3 and 4 was, step 3 was clone the hard drive using easeUS TODO Backup for Windows. And step 4 is aligning the partitions using the same freeware program. Step 5 is wait. So I'm going to stop this video for now, because this part will take a while. And we're back. So we did our disk partition clone using the easeUS TODO Backup free version 12.0, and to transfer about 70 gigabytes of data, it took an estimated time of about an hour and 32 minutes. So as you can see here, it does all the stuff. Basically at the very bottom it says clone completed, start assigning drive letter completed, start updating system information completed, disk clone completed successfully, and it's showing 100%, and the last button is finish. So we're going to tab over to that and click. And so basically, if I access the drive, let me close this. It says, thank you for choosing easeUS TODO Backup. How would you rate your overall experience? I'm just going to click never ask again and close this program. So now I can hit the Windows E key to bring up File Explorer. You can also do that from the Start menu. And so now I'm going to go to, on the left side, this PC. Bang. So now what happens is we still have my C drive, which is the original drive. It's almost 1 terabyte. And now I click over. Look at this. So what happens, my D drive is still my CD-ROM drive, and the E drive, I think it's a small partition attached to C. And now my SSD, which is still attached to this USB-to-SATA dock, is showing as drive letter A, and it's showing 40 gigs free of 110 gigabytes. Local disk B, which is its partition, is 550 megabytes. So I'll double click A, and it's showing basically all these Windows files and everything that was copied over from the original C drive. So that was basically verifying the end of step 5. Now we are going to move on to step 6, which is install the SSD physically into your laptop or desktop. And I will have to admit, this is arguably the hardest part of the whole thing, because you have to figure out how to open up your laptop. It's not always immediately obvious. But anyways, I'm going to shut this computer down and kind of give you some tips. I'm going to disconnect my USB to SATA dock by disconnecting the USB cable and then shutting off the power. Don't need that anymore. And now I'm going to shut down this PC, because we were almost at the very end here. So close down the web browser. And then I'm going to shut the computer down. I'll give you some tips for step 6, which is install the SSD. So on the bottom of your laptop, or the front of your desktop, and you can always find this out through, let me see here. If we go to Windows, so what you're going to need to do is know the make and model number of your last laptop or desktop machine. And you can either find that out with diagnostic software that you install. But anyways, I'm going to shut it down. On the bottom of my laptop, and I think it's pretty much the same for all laptops, I hit that right. Shut down. Okay, so now it's shutting down. And once it's shut down, I'm going to flip over my machine and show you something. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over. And if this zooms in on the sticker on the back of my machine, it says I have ASUS, come on, ASUS model, well, it says X540L notebook PC. So I have the ASUS X540L notebook PC. And what you do is you either go on the internet and look up a teardown of how to open up your laptop, or if you have an older laptop, you're going to see exposed screws that you can undo to open up your laptop. But since I have a newer machine, what happens is you have these rubber stoppers here, and here, and here, and here. And then you have these things that are covered up with little things. So anyways, you could take a precision screwdriver and pry off these little covers, plastic covers. They're all basically sticky, so you can put them back once you're done. So you pry them all off, you expose the screws, undo the screws, and then you pry open your machine using some kind of credit card, kind of wedge it in between to open it up. And once you can find the hard drive, you're going to swap out your original hard drive with your SSD. And then you close everything all back up, put the screws back on, and then you're going to move on to step 7. Hello and welcome back. I've just successfully installed my SSD. If you want, you can look at my ASUS X540L teardown video, and it shows you how I swapped out the hard drive and put in the SSD. So now we're gonna turn this computer on and access the BIOS. Each laptop has a different way of accessing the BIOS. In this case, it's tapping F2. Oh, apparently I missed it. All right, Control Alt Delete. Let's see. I'm gonna hit restart. Hopefully it's going to restart faster than it did before. Oh, looks like I have to do it twice. This time I'm going to hold down the F2 key and see if it takes me to the BIOS, which it does. And now I'm going to tab over to the boot section and make sure to go down to boot option number 1, hit enter. And it says it's going to be Windows Boot Manager SPCC solid state disk. So now we're good to go. It defaulted to pretty much the only thing it could boot from. So now we're going to save the changes and exit. Yes. And then it's going to pretty much take us to our Windows login. And that's our successful copying our Windows installation to an SSD. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it down for me in the comments below and I'll try to get to it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and thanks very much for watching. Okay, so for this part of the video, you're going to need to have a freeware program called easeUS TODO Backup for Windows. So to do that, you go to this website here at www.easeUS.com and hit enter. And then from there, you're going to go to the download section. Click download. And then once that loads, you're going to look for a free program called easeUS TODO Backup. You want probably the Windows version. So here it is over here. You're going to click download. And then you'll need to subscribe to their free newsletter. So you just type in your email address. Don't worry, it's all free and you can always unsubscribe later. And then you hit try to do backup free. I'll click this box. Oh, what was that? Anyway, you click the free version here. And you're going to save it. I'm not going to save it because I've already downloaded it. And then you go to your download folder. It's usually a folder called downloads, unless you've configured it to something differently. And then you open Windows Explorer by hitting the Windows and then the E key. And there you have your File Explorer. Navigate to your Downloads folder. So mine is under, let me see. Yes. So the file name is tb underscore free underscore the version number, in this case 12. You might have a bigger version number than me. So anyway, I'm going to double click that file to install it. And then of course Windows asks you for permission. It's going to ask user account control. Says, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? You're going to click yes. And minimize all this. And select setup language, pick English. Okay, and then you're gonna say don't click the button that says try home edition because that costs money. You're gonna stay with the free and hit next, and then accept the terms license agreement. Click accept. Oops, did I miss something? Then you're gonna type in the location where you want it to save. So then hit next. I don't need the desktop icon. I can join that customer experience improvement program. Backups folder is C:\my backups, 2 words. Hit next. And it's now going to install. So this is version 12 of easeUS TODO Backup free for Windows. But by the time you watch this video, there might be a newer version out there. Sorry about that. So I guess it'll take about a minute for it to install everything because we're still on a traditional spinning mechanical hard drive, and the whole reason why we're doing this is because we want to transfer the Windows copy to a solid state drive or SSD to make the computer faster. So yeah, it's more than just simply copying everything from the hard drive to a solid state drive, but this software will allow you to also transfer the partitions, because usually you have a hard drive that's partitioned into a C and a D drive, maybe more, and this software, this freeware software program, will also take care of copying everything that Windows needs to do its thing. So basically, you won't need to buy another copy of Windows, whether you have Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10. You're going to make a copy from your original hard drive that came with your computer to your SSD. And so if somewhere down the line your SSD fails, you can always take that out and put back in your original hard drive and be right back to where you started up until, before all the updates. Yeah, you can always go back to your original hard drive if your SSD fails. So as you can see, we're more than halfway through the installation here. Apparently there's a lot of files involved in this program. And of course, if you already have an SSD, the installation, as you know, is already going to be faster. But my laptop originally started with a traditional spinning mechanical hard drive, 1 terabyte. And I'm going to transfer the Windows and everything else on it to a smaller SSD. So it looks like we're almost done with the installation. By the way, this background wallpaper that you see here is actually Coron, Palawan. So if you ever get a chance to visit the Philippines, be sure to check out that island. This wallpaper, by the way, is actually part of Windows 10. So I have been there in December of 2019, and it's a beautiful series of islands, and there's no island in the world that looks anything like it. So it's very unique, very distinctive, and in some places the water is 3 different colors, which is really nice. So it looks like it's finishing the installation, and we're going to uncheck the box that says launch easeUS TODO Backup Free 12.0. Like I said, you're probably going to have a newer version by the time you watch this video. So I'm unchecking the box and I hit finished. And we're done with installing that software program. And so something pops up to thank you for installing it in your browser. And so we're done with that part of the video.